Here we are late in the afternoon on Thursday the 29th of October. I've already posted a video for today. I just wanted to make another short one that I might post tomorrow, just so that you can see the extent of the whited out sky. And this is actually the bluer bit of the sky, as you'll see in a moment. But just wanted you to see this. Here you can see a sort of shadow of a trail in addition to the just obvious whited out milky skies. And if you go over here, you can see again the telltale signs of the NEXRAD or Doppler radar, the electromagnetic fields pulsing through the troposphere, same as it ever was. And this, remember, just after yesterday's glorious evening of clear air, at least at ground level. Okay, I'm going to scroll, pan over here, and as we get closer to the sun, we have that telltale platinum white glow. So although I'm out here walking in the evening, it should be a really beautiful, beautiful blue sky summer evening. Again, here you can see the NEXRAD Doppler ripples. It should be a really beautiful evening. Another blue sky, warm autumn evening. Instead, there's a real chill in the air because obviously the heat, the warmth of the sun isn't getting through the toxic nanoparticles. All we get is just that white, glary haze, that platinum white haze that doesn't give any real warmth and that doesn't allow proper vitamin D to be absorbed by our bodies. Anyways, that's it. Don't want to go on because I want to continue on with my walk, but just so that you can see the day-to-day effects of what it is we're living with here in Europe. I used to think it was much worse here in Europe than it was in the US for a long time, and I think that might have been the case until recently. But truth be told, when I show these videos and photographs to friends and family in the US, they seem to think that it's still worse here than what they're seeing. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. You know, if you're living in the US or elsewhere outside of Europe, or even in Europe, in various countries, I'd love to hear what your experiences are on a day-to-day basis. Is what you're seeing as audacious as what we see here in Europe, and what we've seen in countries all over Western Europe? Again, upwards more than 20 countries that we've been traveling to, living in over the past 3.5 years. You know, what's your experience? Tell me in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you. And again, as always, thank you for your support. Until next time. Same walk as what I was just filming, just literally about 1 or 2 minutes later. But just stepping around the bend here, I wanted to show you again what we're seeing. We're getting the NEXRAD Doppler ripples all over the sky. Look at this, it's a real mess. I wasn't able to see this until I came round the bend here. A real mess. It just continues to flabbergast me that people are living underneath these skies without noticing. How can you not notice this? How can you think this is natural? It absolutely boggles my mind. When we were living in Tuscany, spring of 2014, winter, spring of 2014, we used to joke about living under the Tuscan chemtrails because the sky, the cover, the chem cover was so strong there as well. We lived right on the cusp of a really small valley, and again, as I was explaining yesterday in my video, this small valley that would lead from a place out of town where we were living on an olive tree farm. The valley, if we just crossed it, we would walk into the town that we're actually living outside of, called San Casciano in Tuscany. And just looking across that very small valley, it was almost always just whited out with the chalk white of the nanoparticulates, the aluminum, the strontium, the barium, filling our air. It's what we were breathing the entire time, and you can just see what a mess this is. You know, we have workmen who are coming to the house that we're house sitting for, and just, you know, regular everyday people. I'm astounded that nobody talks about this. You know, of course, it's incredible to have the community on the internet where we can connect up with people. That's worth everything in the world to me, and I can tell from others, you know, it means so much to them as well to be able to connect up with people who are not blinded to what's happening overhead, who have not been programmed by whatever it is. I don't know if it's television. I think, you know, one of the most political decisions I ever made in my life was deciding as an adult I wasn't going to have television in the house. We were not going to watch TV, and I think I missed out on an awful lot of literally programming. I think that's why I'm able to see through and see so clearly what others are not able to see. But whatever it is, it's incredible that whatever the mechanism is by which they have silenced people, it's incredible to me that nobody talks about this. Of course, I'm making a generalization. I know that some people do, but generally speaking, you know, people out on the street are not talking about it. They're not aghast as those of us who are aware of geoengineering are continuously aghast at the audaciousness of the Black Ops geoengineering program. But look at this thick blanket of white. It's horrible. The platinum white of the sun. The air is just completely, utterly filled with this stuff, and yet, again, so few people dare to become aware of it. I think it takes incredible courage just to question what's going on and to actually acknowledge the truth of our own experience. I used to run writing workshops and mindful living workshops for as a means to earn my full-time living before we went traveling 3.5 years ago, and I used to run workshops specifically on that topic. You know, writing and acknowledging, witnessing the truth of our own experience. It's so important to do, and that in and of itself is such a courageous act, to truly witness the truth of our own experience, to have the courage to say, hey, something's not right here, folks. And then beyond that, beyond the witnessing, to then take that next quantum courageous step in actually speaking out and connecting up with others and saying, hey, this isn't right, and start sharing those thoughts with others. That takes so much courage, but the incredible thing about taking both of those steps, one at a time if necessary, is that we thereby gain our voice. We thereby gain integrity as a person. We can become wholehearted individuals who are acknowledging that truth. We're not blinded to it. We're not psychologically, subconsciously aware of it, yet not consciously becoming aware of it. Yeah, it's such an important thing. It's what keeps us as whole, alive, integral human beings, being able to acknowledge the truth of our own experience. And how can you not witness this? How can you not talk about it? How is it that everybody walking along the streets, all the couples going about their day-to-day business, going to the grocery store, walking their grandchildren, walking their own children, how is it that people are not acknowledging this? It's so unbelievably in our faces. It's so unbelievably audacious. Just exactly as, or are rather, all the lies that we're fed day in and day out by the totally complicit, I would say guilty, international, globalist mainstream media. It's so audacious. The lies are just so in our face. And you know, a quote comes to mind that I'm going to paraphrase here, but essentially one of the former directors of the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, said something to the effect that we will know our job is done when everything that Americans believe is false. Now, to really take that on board, rewind that, play it a few times, consider the implications of that. We will know when we have done our job, because everything Americans believe to be true will be false, and vice versa. In other words, everything is a psychological operation. Everything is a psyop to play with our minds as a means for them to achieve ever greater control, ever greater criminal control, ever greater illegitimate control, and then thereby to hold on to it. They want us to be incapable of thought. Look up the Bertrand Russell quote. The audacity of the powers that be to not only think, but to very, very nearly succeed. I was actually saying this to my mother the other day. With a great percentage of the population, the world's pseudo-citizenry, with a great percentage of those folk, they have actually succeeded in exactly what Bertrand Russell was stating. And that was published in his book in 1952. They've very nearly succeeded with all of us. It takes so much courage nowadays just to witness the truth of our own experience. When they can be this audacious, when they can just take our skies away, when they can pollute the skies with this audacious crap in the air 24/7, pretty much 365 days a year, when they can turn at what should be a beautiful golden near sunset sun into a platinum white haze that looks something like out of a science fiction film. When they can do this, they are just taking so many liberties. They just think so very little of us as human beings. We're just chattel. We are just serfs. We're slaves. Here comes a car. Probably gonna think I'm crazy here talking to myself in the camera. But they think so very little of us. There's no respect, no even lip service to treating us like fellow human beings. They look at us as mere chattel, cattle, animals, livestock, sheep. Yeah, so it's up to us, folks. Personal responsibility. It's up to us to seize the day, to take back our voice, to find that, again, what I said last night, that authentic, God-given, inherent voice that is within each and every one of us. If we can just re-find that voice, tap into it, it can come step by step. You can go as slowly as you need to do, take as much time as you need to take. As I had said in my Twitter stream over the course of the day today, it can be as simple as putting out a few tweets, saying things that you wouldn't otherwise tend to dare to do. It takes that type of courage, or even retweeting a tweet that you know speaks truth. You know in your heart that a particular tweet that somebody puts out there is speaking truth. Take the step to actually retweet that. And over the course of time, as you start finding your voice and becoming more and more empowered, you'll be amazed at the progress. The things that you previously might have been terrified, wouldn't even think to do. All of a sudden, you'll find those things coming to you more easily and more easily. It's the same with anything. Practice writing, even if it's in your own journal, even if you have no intention whatsoever of ever publishing anything that you write or even sharing it with another individual. Just taking the courage, just seizing the moment to write out your thoughts, write out your observation. There's nothing more powerful than that. And as you exercise that facility, it becomes easier and easier. It becomes easier to witness the truth of your own experience. You become more empowered, more courageous, more whole, more fully human. That's it for now. I can see in the background there above the wires in the distance there's another plane spraying, but you know, it's incredible. They just never stop. And have you ever thought to think about how much money, how many resources are being put into this Black Ops program, how many flights using so much jet fuel, so much manpower, loading the airplanes, creating the aerosols, flying the airplanes, spraying the aerosols. Think about how much money, how many resources are going into this Black Ops program that could instead be going into a real education, giving you and your children and your grandchildren a real, critical, true education, a true drawing out of oneself, the etymological roots of education, to draw oneself out, as opposed to the cramming in of facts, so-called, and false notions. There's a massive difference, 180-degree difference between those two approaches to education. One is true education, rarely gotten. The other is completely anti-education. It's a means to brainwash us, to control us, to psychologically program us. And as often is the case, I'm going to close with a close-up of our dog Charge. She's here looking for moles. You can see this. Look at this hole that she's just dug. There she is. Beautiful dog. And she's been really patient, so I need to continue on our walk and spend some time together. As always, thanks again for your support, and until next time.